Welcome to Hive AV. This tutorial will go over the whole process of connecting your Hive Touch to your network, emulating the panel so you can configure it, updating the firmware on it, and then configuring the app itself, connecting to devices, connect, configuring activities, and then the end user interface. Let's begin with our Hive uh, Touch product page. You can find this at halltechav.com, product Hive Touch. And here you'll see get some good information on the product, specifications, and under downloads you'll find the latest Hive AV app and the Hive Viewer installer. And then you'll also find our tutorials, which we're doing right now. The Hive AV app is continually being developed, so there's a good chance, even though we do our best to update all of the Hive touches before they leave our warehouse, um, there's always a chance that it might need a small update. So you would get that here. And the Hive Viewer installer is very important. It makes life a lot easier because you're able to connect and emulate the Hive Touch panel on your laptop. So you'll want to download both of these. When you download the Hive AV app, it's going to download as a zip file, and the important file that you want is actually going to be the APK. So you're going to unzip it, and you'll be able to see um, release notes and the APK. And the APK is what we're going to want to use to upload. The installer, you're going to want to download that first, install it, and then you're going to want to get your Hive Touch on the same network as your laptop, right? And you're going to want to you might have to change the settings on your laptop or the settings on your Hive Touch. And then once the IP address is in the same range, you're going to want to launch your Hive Viewer. And you'll get a little window like this, and you'll put in the IP address of the Hive Touch, and you'll connect. And hopefully it'll come right up for you, just like that. Um, so this is where great. So you can see here, I don't have the Hive AV app installed. I actually uninstalled it using this APK installer. You can do that by double clicking on this. Okay, you click on that APK installer, it opens up this window, and you're able to uninstall the app if it's already installed, if you need to do that. Some considerations are, if you have a real big difference between the version numbers, you'll probably want to uninstall it so that there's not a corrupted database. So you're going to want to, in order to install it, you're going to want to navigate to that folder that has your APK and release notes. And again, you download it as a zip file. You'll want to unzip it, and it's just the APK that you want. And to install it, it's really, really simple. You just drag it and drop it anywhere onto that space, and you'll see a little install success. Now you might need to navigate away and back again to see the app, but it should be right there, and then you just can launch it. On the first use, you're going to be asked for permissions and just allow everything. That way, you'll be able to use photos for the logo or other images, maybe in the future. All right. Well, we begin at the top left under devices. And we're going to want to start adding devices that we have on our network. So let's add our Hive node relay. And the Hive node relay is a PoE device that we're able to control up to 4 relays, and this is great for projectors and screens. We also have a Hive node RS-232 and a Hive node IR, but for this tutorial, we'll just talk about this right here. Now, pressing X is safe in most situations, unless there's an explicit save somewhere else. Under audio, we have a couple devices, and I'm not going to go too far into the Atlas Blue Bridge, but I'll put in the IP address of it, and I'll hit connect and save. I'll just touch on how it's set up a little bit later. And then we have our HT Odyssey. This is a speakerphone and also a switcher, but it only has, it's mostly auto switching, so we don't use that functionality. I'm pressing save here, you'll see it enables this, and it also enables the tech page. The tech pages will show up on the bottom here for certain devices, and they'll have additional uh, controls that aren't necessarily going to be exposed to the end user during the end user interface, because we want to, it's stuff that's just about configuring, or we want to kind of like consolidate a lot of the control for the 3 different areas. So that's why these pages will be more for the room technology manager or the AV tech or the integrator while they're setting things up. They can do some testing with that pretty easy. All right, so we have a couple of DSPs. We have a node. Let's do some switchers. This is the MC200. This is a presentation switcher that has a lot of different capabilities. It can be used as a matrix switcher. You can do windowing, so you can have up to a quad view, 4 different windows. So it's a great device, and it's one of the devices that Hive is really made for, because it really takes a higher level of control to use this device. So that's why a touch panel is perfect for something like this. If you want to change any of the labels, these are all customizable. And you can see, I'll just, oh, like that. Maybe, let's see, kind of there. And hit save. Again, it enables the device, and then you have it down here, and you can kind of get a preview of what it's going to look like. Again, right now, the layout mode is the mode is mirrored, meaning the 2 display outs are going to have the quad view or whatever layout you choose from this drop down. To switch, you drag and drop, so it's a slight press and hold, and then you can just drag it onto the window anywhere, and it switches effortlessly. You have a little additional controls. You can see the audio controls here, um, right here. This will be expressed in a different way when we set up the activities. Let's go back to settings and devices and versa. Oh, look at that. Everything is here. Well, how did that happen? Well, Hive comes with an automatic discovery and adding feature. So it's automatically going to go out and find any Versa that's on your network and just simply add them. And you can see I have 3 encoders and 6 decoders. They're already labeled even. Well, how's that possible? Well, it's looking at the labeling on the actual web UI. So that's where you would change the labels for these. And all I have to do is enable this, and you can see it pops up down here. And now a whole matrix switcher has been built. And in order to switch, all you have to do is press the source and then press wherever you want it to go to. And you can also do a drag and drop if you wanted. one more note on the Versa. If you're looking to disable this discovery so that you can remove some of these, say it's a whole building and you have hundreds of them, then just disable this add all scan devices and press save, and then you should be fine. Next, let's add our room technology kit or, or the Apollo. And these are also editable as well. Pressing save will add us to the bottom here. And you can see we have volume control and we have 4 of our inputs that you can switch between. All right, this is our HSM44UHD. Let's add this as well. And this is a good little 4x4 switcher. And right, and you can kind of see that right there. And we're switching. All right, great. Let's go back over here again. Great. All right, next we have all of our devices that we want set up, right? We've got a couple of audio devices, we have our node, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different switchers. Oh, I almost forgot my camera. So uh, this is the 1080 PTZ camera. It is a Visca camera, but we're controlling it over WebSocket like a lot of these. It's just a good to know that because you're only going to be able to control our 1080 PTZ camera with this driver right now. We will eventually build out the Visca control, and then it'll be able to control any Visca camera at all. This is a great camera. It's a true PTZ camera, and it has AI technology that does auto tracking, and it has two different ways that you can do that, and you're able to turn on and off that auto tracking from Hive, as well as call different presets. And you can see we can go in here, and we have full PTZ control. Presets can be recalled or saved. And under tracking, you can turn on and off either presenter tracking or zone tracking. Now we truly do have all our devices set up. So now it's time to set up our activities. Now under audio, we have a lot of different options. We could connect directly to a device over TCP/IP, and we can build out each individual control, the slider, level up and down, mute on and off, mic mute on and off. This is a great option for devices that we don't have the control built for yet. And so what we've done is we've provided a way to control things regardless of whether or not we have the driver. I want to show Versa as a type of control also because you can control things two different ways, right? You can either control Versa's line out level, right, by selecting a decoder. Let's just say any one of these, right? Actually, like the Samsung, pressing save. Or you can use RS-232. You'll want to make sure the baud rate is set already and stuff like that. But basically, I can come in here and I can use one of these and be able to set up all those commands again, just like TCP/IP. But now maybe we're connected to a biamp over RS-232, or a DSP over RS-232 instead of IP, right? And it might just be that that's the only way we can control something. And here we are. We'd be able to control it this way. The other devices are a lot simpler, right? If I save any of these, then we'll have our audio controls built out. Depending on what the API is, what does that device support? Well, this device supports increment up and down, volume up and down, and it supports a mic mute, which you can see right there. And that's it. We also have controls built for Apollo, right? It needs to be a little bit different. No mic mute for this device, but we have a speaker mute and increment up and down and a set level. The MC. This is a little bit different. We have two mic mutes. We have our increment up and down again, and we have our speaker mute. And lastly, we have the Blue Bridge. Now, the Blue Bridge, you need to have the DSP, and you'll need to set up these control points, and then you'll have to copy the native strings into here. Now, I have a whole nother tutorial on this, but I just wanted to touch base on it, and just so I could show you what that looks like. Let's stick with TCP/IP. So I can show you this really quick and just how we build everything out. Okay, if the device you need to communicate with needs authenticator, you can edit that there. This is where you would put in the prompts and what the login and the password and all that stuff would be. So I'm doing the device I'm going to be connecting to is my actual laptop, and what I've done is I've created a server. I created a server using Hercules, and you can see my port's 99 right there. And so this will allow us to kind of look at what's going out while we press buttons. Now, if I need it to be hex, I just press this right here. This delimiter right here, if it needs to be different, you can change it. This will be for any of these commands that we set up. So these are fake strings, level, set, and then we're going to put in with a variable. Now this variable is going to correlate with the set level over here. So if I change this set level, then, or just leave it at what it is, it'll be between 0 and 100 when I move the slider back and forth. I can even put something after this if I need to, and then it'll put the delimiter after that. So it'll inject it wherever this variable is. And this little icon here will give you a little help. Now right now, if I hit save, I can test this out. You'll see here's my slider, and you can kind of see that feedback when I look at my server, seeing right there, set level. And you can see the delimiter going out too. Let's go set everything else up. We'll do this real quick. Up, down. Tab will get you to the next place. Mute on, mute off. Mic mute on, mic mute off. This other mute is for a speaker. This one's for a microphone. And I hit save. And now I have my full slider. And you can see I have increment up and down. That's my level up and down. I have my mic mute on and off. And I have my speaker mute on and off. And you can see all those commands went out the door. Next, let's take a look at power. Right? We're going to have two power buttons. And so we can set up a couple presets for power on and off. All right, and let's pretend that one of these displays is a projector or something. But let's just take a look at this. Let's look at a couple options that we have. All right. We can, with the Samsung display that's connected to the Versa, I have three different options of control just for Versa, right? I can do RS-232, send a command to it. I can do IR, and drop in IR commands in the format either Pronto or Global Cache. Or I could do CEC, and this will just use that HDMI connection to trigger the display on and off. Let's say we have a projector uh, and we don't have the driver for it. Well, again, I can connect to that projector with an IP address, and I can. This is my fake port, but if whatever the port control for it is, if it's 23, whatever, and then we'll tell it to turn on. If I need to do hex, I can just come in and do hex. This again, we're using that TCP/IP direct because we don't have the drivers built yet. But all we need is a couple of commands to turn a projector on and off. It's not like we need a whole lot of stuff here. And so very simple, very easy to do. Let's uh let's add a relay command for a screen, right? We can come in here and I can set my relay right here, and I'm going to pulse it for 1 second, and the pulse means that it's going to turn close the relay on for on, wait 1 second, and then open the relay back up for off. Most screens and projectors lifts are going to need that pulse, right? Now you can create that pulse by doing a delay if you need to, but we have it already built in here, this pulse, so that would be the recommended way of doing that. To save this preset, just hit X. If you want to cancel what you've worked on, just hit back. And you can see now this is enabled. Let me come in and do the power off as well. And we'll do the second relay here, and this will put the screen up, right? All right, we got power on and off. And at this point, if I wanted to test this, all I have to do is press that on button. And there it is. Yep. TV's turning on, projector's turning on, screen's coming down. Oh, I'm going to shut everything off. Oh, yep, all that looks like it's working. Wonderful. Let's create a couple presets now. Presets are very powerful, especially for Versa, where you can set up a one-to-many, or you can even set up a video wall. We won't go into a lot of those complicated ones. We'll do a one-to-many and show off some of the other functionalities that you can also build. We'll call this Fire TV. So we're going to set that group ID for the Versa decoder. And so the encoder for the Fire TV is 10, so that's what I'll set this to. And then it's real simple. We just copy this and we change the display. Okay, I just went ahead and did all these, all 6 of my displays, and press X just to save. Oh, just one more note. I'm gonna collapse all these and kind of see some of the other commands that you can possibly do. Again, you could do a TCP/IP direct command, right? So we could tell the display maybe to switch to a different input, or a projector to do something in a different format, or or you could tell a DSP to mute on and off, right? Some of the other commands that for the devices in here, like you can call a camera preset, right? You can for the MC, you do different layouts. So this is a very powerful tool. It's not just for Versa, it's for everything. And of course, you can open and close a relay if you wanted to, right here. Yep. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. Save that, and then you can see here I can test this right there, just like the other the power preset. This is to hide the preset from the end user, and that would be if we were going to trigger it later. So it's really future functionality for now. I'm going to copy this, and then we're going to change this to a different encoder for the one that my camera is going into. Right? And then I'm just going to have to go in here and change all these to 11. It's that simple. Okay, I updated all these to 11, and again, X is a save, and you can see we have 2 presets. All right, so we have all of our devices set up, right? We tested them all, and we have all of we have our audio set, our power set, right? And we have our preset set. One other thing you might want to consider at this point is maybe doing a backup of what you're working on. So I just hit this backup button, and then you should be good to go if you ever want to restore it. Um, all right, so you have everything set up, everything's backed up. All right, it's time to launch control. We're going to launch by pressing the Hive AV button. And this is going to take us to the end user interface. And you can see the little warning message. Once you enter this, there's a lot you can go back. There's no going back. You just press and hold this cog, and you're good to go. What you see in front of you is the end user interface, right? And it's in the off state right now, and it's pretty obvious what you need to do if you want to turn it on, and it's made that way because we need ease of use and access for the end user. So we've done everything we can to make it as easy and simple to use, with the minimum amount of text and symbols that are simple and easier to understand. Everyone knows this is the power on button. You press it, it will give you a little warm up bar. In the future, we will have that tied to something. And you can hear my TV's turning on in the background. It's actually really working. And here's our slider and that we set up, and our increment up and down, and our mic mute, and our speaker mute. And in front of us in the middle is our MC200. I could drag and drop these in here and do some switching. I can change the mirror to independent and turn this into a matrix switch if I wanted. I could change all the layouts if I wanted. But you'll notice that the audio controls aren't here anymore because the audio controls are on the bottom, right? And we only just want the switching interface. That's why we kind of minimized that. Here, before us is the Versa switching. You can see here you press source and then you press display, right? But you can also drag and drop by holding it for a second and dragging a drop over there. There's also this other method, which is sometimes might be easier to select each source for each display that way. Either method works really well. Here's our TRK1, and all you see now is the switcher because the level control's on the bottom, and we were using the Odyssey for that. Here's our camera. It doesn't look that much different than the other page. We can change tracking. We can do a lot of different things. And you can see our presets right here. If we wanted to, we could have included those presets up here and then just recalled it up there if we wanted. And here's our HSM44. And we do some switching here. And then if I want to, I can recall these presets just by pressing those buttons up there, right? And you can see it do its thing, right? And if I wanted to, I could come in and by pressing that presets button, we can have lots of presets. You'll only see up to 3 here, right? And then I could just select a preset from here. And then to shut everything off, we just can go to here. One other note, if you want to set this end user interface page as the default on boot up, you'll have to make sure that it's set as the default launcher. And you can do that by coming in here, selecting that little bottom icon, going into settings, and then setting this as our default app. And go to apps, go to Hive AV, and then you want it to change this to Hive. And now when I press this middle button, it'll bring us back to control. And if we power cycle a panel, it'll bring us, the end user will see the end user interface every time. Now, if we wanted to come back up here, if we wanted to get back into settings, you'll have to do it up in that corner because we'll no longer be able to use that circle because it'll take us back to the app every time, right? So you'll have to come back into apps from that top part and either and select this launcher right here as the default instead if you needed to get back into that launcher. And there, and then you would be able to just go to this instead. All right. I think we've reviewed everything, and there's more detailed tutorials that you can find on our product page or on our YouTube channel. This was more of just an overview, and thank you again for your time.